a marker, some twine, your Mod Podge paint brushes. You're going to need glitter, and you're also going to need a little bit of hot glue. All right. You're also going to need some scissors too so that you can cut out your hearts with the felt fabric. So we'll go ahead and we will jump into this project. The first step is to create the hearts that we are going to be placing on the front of the pillow. I'll show it to you quickly one more time. So these are the hearts that we are getting ready to cut out. And for this step, you don't really need a stencil. I just kind of eyeballed it. So I'm going to use my black marker here to draw the shape of a heart. And I want to make sure that it is a good size heart because we are going to make a miniature heart that's going to fit in the inside of it. So we're going to create a larger heart first. And then we will create a smaller heart with our white felt fabric that is over here to the right of me. And the reason I am using these colors are because these colors match the color of my glitter. And when we add the glitter onto the felt fabric, if there are spots that we don't get covered, we want to make sure that it blends in with the color of the glitter. So if I were to be using, let's say, a yellow fabric and I'm going to be using red glitter, it might not look the best and we might have to cover it maybe 3 to 4 more times than we would if we would just go with a color that matches the glitter. So try to use a felt fabric that closely resembles the color of the glitter that you will be using for this project. So I made the bigger heart. I am going to create a smaller heart that can fit inside of there. If you have a stencil at home, you can use that. Again, like I said, I'm just kind of eyeballing this. Let's see. Alrighty. All right, there it goes. So we are just drawing out a smaller heart. And then we are going to cut this out with our scissors. All right, so we have our 2 hearts drawn out. We're going to go ahead and cut these out. Alrighty. We would love to know where you guys are watching from today. I always have fun hearing where you guys are watching from. Alrighty. So the reason we're using felt fabric for this project is because it's a little bit thicker than fabric. We're going to be putting Mod Podge and glitter on here, and that's going to add a little bit of weight to this. And a thinner fabric probably would not hold up as well as this thick felt fabric. So I would highly suggest using felt fabric if you have this at home. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and cut out our smaller heart. Alrighty, so let's actually shape that up just a little bit better. All right, so we have our 2 hearts cut out, and as you can see, that one lays right inside of the bigger one. If they're not cut out perfectly, I think that's actually not a bad thing. I think this is one of those projects where your hearts can look quirky and they'll look really cute that way. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my Mod Podge. So we are going to start with our matte formula. And we are going to add a layer of Mod Podge onto the top of the heart. You can add a generous amount, especially because this is felt fabric. it's gonna soak the glue in a lot more. So add a pretty generous coat of the Mod Podge onto your hearts. Let's go ahead and do the bigger one. So if you didn't catch what I said earlier, you want to make sure that your fabric matches the color of the glitter that you will be using for this project, if possible. That'll help with any spots that we aren't able to cover with our glitter. It'll blend in a little bit better. Alrighty, so I'm gonna grab some glitter. So I have my silver glitter here. That is what I'll be putting on top of the white fabric. And then I have my red glitter. So I am going to do this on top of a plate to create less mess. Glitter is very messy. It's a very, very messy craft supply. So I try to contain it as much as possible when I'm using it for a project. All right, so let's pick that up. Let's dump it. Perfect. So we can go ahead and we can set that one to the side. We'll let it dry. We'll grab a different plate so that we can use our silver glitter and not get our colors mixed up. Alrighty. For this project, I would suggest using fine glitter. It does a really good job with coverage. The bigger chunks of glitter, in my personal opinion, they don't look as good, just in my opinion. So I would suggest going with fine glitter. And so we were actually able to get that one pretty covered in one coat of glitter, one covering of glitter. All right, so we have both of our hearts covered in glitter. We are going to assemble them together. And for this step, we are going to set our matte formula out of the way, and we're going to grab our fabric Mod Podge. And we're going to add it onto the back of our smaller heart. And we're going to set this one on top of the bigger heart. And if you pour out both of your Mod Podge formulas and you get mixed up and you're like, oh, I don't know which one is which, the fabric one is the one that is thicker. It has a much thicker consistency than the matte formula. All right, so we are gonna add this right into the middle here. And we wanna allow that to dry for a little while. I already have a finished example to my left side here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set this off to the side. We'll hold on to our fabric Mod Podge because we will be using that again for the next step. Let's dump a little bit of this glitter off so that we don't get it onto our pillow. All right. And you know what I don't think I mentioned earlier? A very important supply for this project is going to be your pillow. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but you will definitely need a pillow for this project. So we are going to be using this one. So this is a square pillow. The first one that I showed you guys is a rectangular pillow. So we're switching up the shapes, just so you can see the different options that you have when you go to design your pillow. So I have our finished hearts here and ready to go. So once your hearts are done drying, what you can do is go back over it with your matte Mod Podge to seal the glitter in, so that when you move your pillow around, or if you do lay back on it, all of the glitter doesn't go everywhere. So make sure you seal the glitter on your hearts with an extra coat of Mod Podge once they are done drying with the fabric Mod Podge. All right, so we are going to create a garland with hearts on it. So the next thing you're gonna do is grab your twine, and you're gonna cut a piece that fits the width of your pillow, maybe even a few extra inches, so that we can kind of create a bend here and not something that goes straight across. We want it to kind of come down just a little bit, so we'll cut about right here. And for this step, we are going to use our hot glue gun. So I'm going to attach our twine to the pillow by adding just a little bit of hot glue onto the side of the pillow. And we'll hold that in place for just a second. And then we're going to switch over to the other side and do the same thing. So we'll add a little bit more on top of there. All right. Alrighty. So same thing over here. We're going to add a little bit of hot glue to attach our twine on the other side of the pillow. Alrighty. So we'll let that dry for just a second. What I like about this project is that when Valentine's Day is over, you should be able to easily pull off your hearts with not too much trouble. And I believe Easter is our next holiday. And if you wanted to make some little felt Easter bunnies, you could plop those in the place of the hearts. So this is definitely a project that is universal for all holidays. Alrighty. The next step is to attach our hearts onto the string that we have here. And for this step, we are going to go back in with our fabric Mod Podge. So we're going to add a coat to the back of each heart. And then we're going to add them onto our pillow. All right. All right, so let's start with the center. So we'll add this one here. And we'll hold it in place for just a second. For this step, you do want to make sure you add a pretty good coat of your fabric Mod Podge, because we want to make sure that these stay on as long as we need them to. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add Mod Podge onto the remaining two hearts. Let's set this up here for just a second. Alrighty. So if you would like to try this project at home and you're wondering, oh, where do I get a pillow from that I don't want to mess up, or I have a pillow and it's really ugly and it wouldn't look nice with the hearts on top of it, what you can do is cut a piece of fabric. If you have a pillow that you don't necessarily like the look of, but you do want to try to use it, you can cut a piece of fabric to the size of your pillow and you can actually cover it with your fabric Mod Podge. So you can just cover the front with it, or you can cover the front and the back. That way you don't have to go out and buy another pillow. You can just reuse the one you already have and make it pretty. All right, so we have our second heart. We are going to add that here. We'll hold it in place for just a second. And we're going to do the same thing with our third heart. And then we're going to grab our twine one more time to create 2 tiny bows that we can add onto the end of our garland strings. All right. So again, you want to add a pretty generous amount of Mod Podge onto the back of your felt heart. Felt is a little bit heavier than your normal cotton fabric. It has a little bit more weight on it, so we want to make sure that we have enough Mod Podge on the back of it so that it stays onto our pillow. I usually say not too much. This time we're going to add much, much more. So this is one project where you do want to add more Mod Podge. Alrighty, so we have our third heart. We are going to lay it right here. And if you guys can tell, I didn't go in a straight line. I tilted my hearts just a little bit to create a curved look. Alright. And then we are going to move on to the next step. Let's get a little bit more of this glitter out of our way. We can actually take this. Let's move this out of our way. Thank you, Stephen. All right. So the last step for this project is to grab your twine, and we're going to create 2 small bows to place onto the end of our garland string. If you don't have twine at home, I think a great alternative would be to use a really pretty ribbon in place of the twine string. Like a really pretty red decorative ribbon, or maybe you have a Valentine ribbon with hearts all over it. That would look really nice. Alrighty, so we have our bow here. I'm going to go ahead and cut off that excess string. Alrighty. We're going to place it there. Can you guys see that? Let's go ahead and make the second one really quickly, and then we'll go ahead and we will add them on. If you guys are watching and you are working on any Valentine's Day projects, we would love to hear what they are. I am in the process of decorating my own home, so if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them. Alrighty. So let's cut our excess string. Alrighty. Alrighty. So we have our 2 small bows here. We're gonna grab our hot glue once again. We're gonna add a small dot. We're gonna hold our bow in place till it sticks on. Cut this excess. Alrighty. And we're gonna do the same thing for the other side of our pillow over here. So this is really quick, really easy, super simple. I like to create projects and crafts for people who think they cannot craft. So I think this is something simple that almost anyone can do, even if you think you can't. So let's hold this bow in place for just a second. And then we will take a look at our final result. Alrighty. So let's take a look. So this is how our pillow came out. I will pull our other finished example over. So if you have a rectangular shaped pillow, you could do the same thing. Maybe just add an extra heart if it's a little bit wider than your square pillow. Let's see. Can you hold them up together? Maybe let's do this from the front shot so you guys can see them side by side. So these are what our finished pillows look like. I hope you guys enjoyed this project. Like I said, super simple, super quick, and you can complete this project with matte Mod Podge and fabric Mod Podge. And as always, if you guys try this out at home, we would love to see your final result. You can use #PlaidCrafts so that we can thumbs up it. And we will see you guys next Wednesday for another fun Valentine Mod Podge project. And thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you soon.